All right, we are live. I am very, very excited about this interview. I have the incredibly talented, gorgeous Jessica Roth with me. And then I also have the handsome heartthrob Josh Whitehouse with me. And I am so excited to talk about this musical adaptation of Valley Girl. So I have to start with, of course, the obvious question. Fans of the original. Okay. Jessica, can you talk a little bit about when you first discovered the film and how it made you feel? I don't know, just in general.
Yeah. So I hadn't ever watched this film until I auditioned for it, which was the first time I auditioned for it was almost 5 years ago. I couldn't find it anywhere because up until recently, when MGM put it online available for streaming, you had to, I think, get a DVD. Maybe there were other ways to watch it, but my friend found one at a dollar store in South Dakota and sent it to me. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the quirk and the love story. And Deborah Foreman is just so charming and beautiful and effortless. Nicolas Cage is incredible. His Batman chest hair is the thing of legends. But I fell in love with how uniquely itself this movie was and the ways that it dealt with teen issues. And, it's really hard when you go into making a remake because if something's wonderful, why remake it? But I really felt that the script kind of expanded on the story that had been there. It wasn't just telling the same story frame for frame. Not only was there the music and dance element, but it also gave Julie so much more agency in her journey. And this is a young woman who is curious and inquisitive and full of heart. And she meets this man and falls head over heels in love with him. But that's not what changes her. What changes her is her own curiosity and desire to interact with the world. And that's what makes her such a good partner for Randy.
Awesome. How about you, Josh?
Hey. When I watched the original, I fell in love with it. I first saw it when I had been sent this script. I hadn't heard of the original, but I checked it out and I was just like, this movie is amazing. Like it encapsulates so much of the rawness and the edginess of 80s youth. And also, just the tales of kind of high school coming of age. And I'd be the first person to say, don't touch a classic, don't remake it. But I felt, this retelling was so interesting in a bunch of ways. I mean, first of all, it's a musical. And second of all, just the fact that it's kind of being told from the memory and the imagination of Julie as a grown-up talking to her daughter really puts a new spin on it. And I thought that was a really interesting dynamic, and it gave us so much freedom creatively as actors to kind of encapsulate that world a little bit.
Awesome. Obviously I was a big fan of this film as well. I'm a child of the 80s, grew up watching so many of these films and I love and adore them. But I know this is like blasphemy to say this, but I am actually going to say this. I actually prefer this version to the original.
Oh!
Yes.
I'm going to record that and listen to it because I don't know if anyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I 100% mean it. I 100% mean it. It is so much fun, and it's so the chemistry and just like the casting of like all the secondary characters, like Jesse Ennis, just like freaking spot on, perfect.
Yeah,
and we have an incredible cast and crew.
Yeah. And I it was funny because you guys kind of both addressed one of my questions in your first answer, which was what were the reservations of remaking something that's so beloved? But you guys said, the cast, the director, everyone seemed to really want to embrace. And I feel like it's a celebration of the original film, but it also tweaks things, and I just love the musical elements and how much you guys are so into it. I mean, you can just feel that energy, and it makes you so happy. I mean, we've been in quarantine. I think this is the happiest I've been watching something since I've been in quarantine.
Thank you. Well, and I do think in a funny way, even though someone in an interview before this was like, "Are you sad it's not coming out in movie theaters?" And it's like, well, of course, because movie premieres are fun and going to a movie theater is really fun. But in some ways, I think that this is what people need right now, is just a little dose of sunshine. Because and that's what this movie is. It will make you feel good, and there are wonderful messages and things that different people can relate to. There are incredible songs and wonderful performances, but at the end of the day, like, this is a movie that you will leave feeling brighter about the world, instead of kind of like, oh, people suck. It's like, oh, people are wonderful and capable of change, and love is great, and let's listen to some Pat Benatar. Like, those are all of the things I want people to experience.
No, I think those are great things to take away from this movie. One of the things that I definitely have to talk about is the costume design. I really, really dug how authentic the costumes were to the period. Can you both talk a little bit about, suiting up in all your different wardrobes for this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think over 70 different costume changes. I had a lot of costumes, lots of makeup, lots of hair, and I loved it. Whenever you step into a role and you're given anything that's kind of transformative, it's so helpful and so fun, and really, it helped me kind of instantly transport myself into Julie world. But our costume designer, Maya Lieberman, really did an incredible job. Half of the costumes were custom made for us. Some of them were kind of like 80s inspired things that are sold now at Forever 21. But a lot of it was pulled from stock, from like authentic stock at Paramount or MGM or Fox, which made it very authentic. It also made all of the clothing very unbreathable. There was a lot of polyester. And we were shooting in the summer in the Valley, but sacrifices for art. But I mean, my one regret of this film is that I did not get to keep any of those things, because it, like, even the outfit on the poster, that jacket, I mean, come on, it's just too good.
Yeah, no, it's a great jacket, but yeah. I mean, every costume in this movie is just so spot on. It reminds me, almost like when you watch Clueless, right? Like, it feels so perfect for the time, but that movie had the luxury of actually being filmed in the 90s and taking place then. This, we're in 2020, and you're talking about a movie that was like originally in like the late 80s, but it feels very authentic, like it was made back then, which is why I just really gravitated towards it.
Right. Yeah.
So I did want to ask, obviously, Jess, you were in a musical before, a little movie called La La Land. I think a lot of people may have heard of that, maybe not, who knows? I love musicals. I'm a big musical guy. For Josh, I'm going to give this to you first, because you didn't answer the last question.
For me, the costume wise, I feel like Randy's costume was kind of timeless in that, out of everybody on set, everyone's wearing such 80s garb, but Randy's it's a little timeless, and he's just got some jeans and a dirty t-shirt for most of the movie.
You know what? You're 100%
right. Josh isn't giving himself props. He designed that t-shirt. The drawings on the main t-shirt he wears, Josh did himself. So
I
have to take a look at
it. I scribbled all over it with marker pens and biros. I spilled coffee on it. I drank wine in it and dribbled, and whatever I could do to make it authentic, dirty punk.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering that.
No problem.
But I did want to ask about musical numbers. Obviously, there's a lot of them in this film. Which one for each of you was the hardest to film, or just kind of get your mind into? I know it's a while back too, because I realized that this
Yeah.
film was like filmed like what, like 2 years ago?
3.
3? Oh, okay.
I mean, for me, I think the hardest musical number probably was Boys Don't Cry. Mainly just because there was a lot going on and the timing was really, really crucial. From walking down the street, I get to a ladder, I pull the ladder down, I got to climb the ladder, I got to get up to the second level just in time for May to come out of the window, and then, you know, like the whole sort of thing, and then we end up on a rooftop. So there was a lot going on in that. But I suppose also, what was the one? You Might Think I'm Crazy. You Might Think was also, that was nuts, because I was like sliding down a rooftop, and there was a lot of stunts involved. So, I mean, all of them were challenging in their own right, to be honest. Like, there wasn't really a musical number in that movie that didn't have an element of challengeness to it. But probably Boys Don't Cry the most, just for the timing, for my sake.
Awesome. How about you, Jess?
I was going to say We've Got the Beat, just because it was so big and crazy. And we only had 2 or maybe 3 days in the mall. And so we shot until they kicked us out at like 6 a.m. We shot until 6 a.m., I think, on the last day, from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. to get that done, which was insane. But actually, the hardest one was the aerobics number, because we did not learn that until the day before.
Wow.
Because since it's a mashup, it was really difficult for them to find the right combinations of songs and the length, and because it's this kind of fun back and forth between Maya and Chloe's characters, creating that volley and the fun buoyancy of it while doing aerobicize was really hard. And so we recorded the track on a Friday, or no, maybe on a Saturday. We recorded the track. We got the track on a Friday. We recorded it on Saturday. We learned choreography on Sunday, and then we shot it on Monday. So it was like this crazy crunch time. But it was really fun. We were all very sore afterwards. Jane Fonda workouts are no joke. Like that aerobicize stuff is serious.
Was that the inspiration for the number?
Oh yeah. I think Jane Fonda should just be everyone's inspiration for everything.
That's great. That's great. You know, and you also, that was Mandy Moore, right? Who you worked with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the best.
She's so good.
Man, that lady has energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart. Very smart.
So I have to also give you guys both kudos, because in a movie like this, the 2 leads don't work if it isn't for the chemistry that is created between you two. And there is something about this film where it just feels very natural and very genuine and organic, and like you really just fall in love. And it was kind of funny because I was watching this movie last night, and you just start falling in love with the characters, and you kind of like see them each individually grow. Can you guys talk? And I know this is a common question, but can you guys talk a little bit about like what sort of activities you did in order to get such perfect chemistry?
Activities.
I mean, we went out for dinner like we would go get dinner and drinks, and we just hung out a lot on set.
Yeah.
And I mean, Josh is just so charming, Scott. You can't help just like instantly fall in love. But I think that we were lucky that we both were incredibly passionate about this project and worked very hard, and were hard workers, but also there was a really playful, like, I think we definitely got into that kind of high school, like pushing each other. Like there was a lot of like kind of, do you know what I mean, Josh?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that it definitely manifested in that way. So it felt like a really playful, fun, alive connection. But yeah, it also doesn't help. Like my fiance has always said that if I leave him for someone, it will be for a musician, because anytime a guy picks up a guitar and sings, I'm like it's an issue that I have. Like it's a serious problem. And Josh is an incredibly talented musician, so he made that part easy for me.
Awesome. Well, they're making me wrap up, but I can't get away from this interview without asking at least one 80s question, and I had a bunch of them, but I'm going to go with who is your favorite 80s character?
I'd say Ferris Bueller for me.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the bomb. I always wish that I could have played Ferris Bueller.
Awesome.
You make a good Ferris Bueller. I love Indiana Jones so much. I love those movies. I love Harrison Ford in those movies. It was just so good.
Great. My actual favorite 80s character is Clark Griswold from Vacations movies.
Right.
I just like honestly, I grew up with those movies, and there was the comedies that I will revisit every single year over and over and over again. Yes, John Hughes, every character in a John Hughes movie is great too. But like he actually had something to do with Vacation too, so it kind of ties in. But,
really? I
yeah.
didn't do that.
Yep. John Hughes wrote Christmas Vacation, and I think he directed he also wrote the first one. So,
right.
Yeah. So, thank you so very much. I have to say just one last thing, and then I'll go. Josh, you have a very strong future ahead of you. Jess, I don't know what I have to do, but how you're not like making like $30 million a movie at this point is beyond me. Like everything, you just light up the screen. Like seriously, you're so damn charming in everything from Happy Death Day to La La Land to this. Both of you, I just want to see such bright futures for both of you. You both deserve it, and you're both incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Problem. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your interviews, and I'll talk to you soon.
This was a delight.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, how do I?
Bye, Jess.